Hi guys, it's Amy with Plan, and today I am back with another How to Frankenplan video. This video is going to be putting together kind of a unique method, I think, for Frankenplanning, so stay tuned for that. One of the things that I notice a lot with Frankenplanning and just the system in general is that we tend to add in a bunch of dashboard dividers and top tabs and side tabs and all of these other things, and it gets a little bit overwhelming sometimes, especially if you have just multiple things that are taking up space in your planner. And so this method is really trying to reduce the amount of extras that you add into your Frankenplanner and be able to help you slim down your planner in a way that still makes sense and allows you to access all the sections that you have. And so before I jump into it, I do want to lay out my caveat, just like I do in all of these videos. Frankenplanning is a method of planning where you're combining multiple planners into one. And the thing about Frankenplanning is that people get really passionate about it, and there are multiple ways of doing it, and no way is the one right way. There are multiple ways of doing it. I'm presenting one way here, and there are multiple other ways of doing it. So there's no one right way of doing it. If you're interested in doing Frankenplanning, the thing that I would recommend for you is just to try out multiple different methods to see which one works the best for you. In this method, though, I'm going to call it, I was trying to come up with a catchy name for it, and I'm going to call it the continuous flow method. I don't know why I called it out, but basically the way this method operates is that we're going to be focusing on making sure that our dividers are visible throughout the planner. Okay, and so this makes a lot more sense if I show you some dividers. But if you are a Frankenplanner and you feel like for each of your Frankenplanning sections, you have to have the monthly spread as well, this is a method that you might want to consider. So I'm going to show you a couple of dividers. This first set is a set of undated. You can see that right here, undated. Actually pulled, these are random, I just pulled random blank dividers, and I got these from, I'm assuming Happy Notes, guided journals, that kind of thing. Okay, so I have a set of 4 undated, right? And that will come into play later. So that's the first set. The second set of dividers is one of the types of planners that the Happy Planner releases, and that's going to be their 18th month July start planners. So this works for the classic sizes because July always starts with tab 1, August, September, October, and it goes in that order for all July release, July start 18-month planners. Okay, and so again, this will make sense, but just keep in mind July start planners. The third type of planner, or another type of planner that the Happy Planner releases, is going to be their 12-month planners. And those 12-month planners have January start dates. And for whatever reason, I pulled a full set here. Anyway, they are 12-month planners, and those 12-month planners have a January start. All right, so January starts here at the top, right? I think you're gonna kind of get what I'm doing here. So that's there. All right, and then there's a last category of dated planner that the Happy Planner releases, and that's going to be their back to school release, which is going to be their August start date. So you'll have an August start. As you can see here, there are 4 basic releases or times that the Happy Planner releases planners. And those times are going to be in the spring for their July start, in the summer for their back to school start, and then they release in the fall for their January start. And then of course they over the years have started developing undated planners. All right, so they have 3 start dates for their dated planners, and then of course undated blank tab dividers. Now what I do in this method is essentially really think about how many months in a planner I need to have. For me personally, I always vote for putting as little as necessary into your Frankenplanner. I think that the one section that you might want to carry multiple months in is going to be your Frankenplanner. I find personally that once I take the time, and it takes a little bit of time to do this, to get into the habit of doing this, but once I get into the habit of basically transferring, for example, in my wellness section, all the notes that I need from my wellness section into my current month, I just don't need to reference the past month. In that same vein, for my wellness section, I only need the current month. I don't necessarily need to plan in the future for anything that's going on in the future month, like the next month or the month after that. Those types of things will go into my catch-all and then will get transferred into the more specific section later. But for my Frankenplanning system, really the only section that I would consider adding multiple months into the future is going to be my catch-all. The other sections, I just really need only the current month. So I hope that makes sense. Basically I'm saying for me personally, my Frankenplanner only needs several months of my catch-all. All the others are 1 month only. And that makes sense when I'm trying to set up my Frankenplanner with dividers. But if I, for example, decided that I'm going to like have a specific planner that is my like catch-all, I'm going to use, just as an example, this January start planner. And these are outdated dividers. It doesn't really matter for the purposes of like talking about the dividers themselves. It doesn't really matter. It just needs to be a January start, or it could be a July start, or it could be an August start. Whatever you decide your catch-all is, make a decision on how many months you plan to have in your Frankenplanning system. For me, what makes sense is if I'm going to be planning in the future, the way that I would do it is actually have the current month and the future month, and potentially the month after that. So at most 3 months. I honestly would actually do it like slightly backwards in time, where I would have the past month, the current month, and the future month, right? And so in this example, I guess I should go to like the month that makes sense, right? So let's just go to July, right? I'm just flipping through the dividers here, right? So let's just say that we're in the month of July, and I'm going to plan to use my past month for my catch-all is going to go into my Frankenplanner. Then I'm going to have the current month, which is July, and then I'm only going to put 1 month of the future month, which is August. The rest of these will go into like the single, like into its actual planner, and will be housed like separately until I need to use them. So this is what I have for June, July, August. All right, that makes sense to me. I'm just like, okay, that works. Then I decide that I'm going to add a second section. Let me pull this. This is like just a random notebook. I'm just going to use this for the purposes of this demo and just add them in here. So here's my catch-all. All right, again, this method is to try to reduce bulk and try to reduce like the amount of top tabs that you have, okay? So I always put my catch-all at the beginning, right? So I have June, July, August. Now I'm going to decide which section is next. For the purposes of this video, it doesn't really matter, but I'm going to decide that my next section is going to be, let's just say it's going to be my wellness section, all right? And I decide that for wellness, I'm going to choose, or not that I'm going to choose, what would make sense for me is to use a July start planner and try to pick a layout that would work for wellness. And I will only be using 1 month's worth. So I'm going to put July in there. Again, the rest of this will be on its planner. It will just kind of sit there, right? And so that is wellness. Then I have a third section. This third section will be my, I don't even know, like you can come up with some other section, right? And that section is going to be right here, right? Again, I only keep 1 month of it, so the other dividers will go into their planner and just kind of be there, right? And then I have a fourth section, right? And that's going to be whatever section I label it. For me, it might be like social media, right? And I'm going to put that divider in here. And again, what I have here is for the first section, my catch-all, I have the past month, which is June, the current month, which is July, and then the one future month, which is August. Then at that point, I can move into my second section where I have only July, my third section where I would only have July, and then my fourth section where I would only have July, okay? And so I am able to have all 4 sections. Now, why does this work? Like for me, how this works or why this works is that I'm able to actually use the dividers to move to the sections that I need to. Now, this obviously helps a little bit more if you have like weekly pages in there, note sections, things like that. But I'm able to know that the first 3 sections are going to be, or the first 3 tabs are going to be my catch-all. And then at some point, in fact, it will be the one where the catch-all is not showing, I'm going to have my next tab for my second section, and I'm able to flip to that. I'm also able to flip here, and it's the second tab, and then here I'm missing a tab, right? But I can also like add in another section that's blank tab, and then here I have a fourth tab, which is July. And I'm able to reference and like kind of follow along month by month, because like once you switch over to August, all the tabs kind of like move down a spot, and it continues to like stay in the spot where you're able to kind of flip to it, right? And so like I'm able to flip right here to my third section, just like that. And here's my last section, just like that. All right, so I hope that made sense. As I'm talking through it, I just don't know that it does or not, but I hope it did. And I hope you can kind of see the logic of this. Like one of the things that I hear a lot is like, how do you like separate the sections? How do you kind of like figure out which section goes where and like how can you organize it in a way like using the materials, the supplies that you have already. And this is one of the ways that I feel like can work out, where you're making a conscious decision to use multiple different start planners and have the dividers serve as the section separators. All right, and so that's just the method that I kind of like see in theory working out. And you have some feedback for me, please do let me know. I would love to hear what you have in terms of thoughts, what it might look like for you, if you can see any pitfalls here. I'm going to actually show you before I like close this video that like for my personal my actual Frankenplanner, like my sections tend to be very full. And so this works out from a practical perspective where you're able to see it a lot easier. So I did it just with dividers, and so they're like a lot closer together. But I think that if you're doing like an actual Frankenplanner with the pages and notes and things like that, you're able to access it a lot easier. And so that's just my thought. All right, now with all that being said, you can see also my like system does have top tabs and side tabs. So, you know, I maybe am not practicing what I preach here in this particular video. But I hope you did enjoy this video. I hope it gives you some inspiration for your Frankenplanner. Again, if you do try this method, let me know if it worked or if it didn't work for you. And leave a comment below just like giving me your reactions just in watching the video. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to my channel. And until the next video, bye guys.